Haley Mace is a big one for me, dude. The way she muscles people off the ball, just puts her whole body into them. And I'm like, it's not a foul because she's not like extending her arm to push them. She's just bodying them up. Ever since she came back into this lineup months ago, it's been a game changer for our back four, man. Yo, 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 what is happening, Kansas City soccer peeps? It's another episode of Currently on No Other Pod here on KC Sports Network. I'm Daniel Kooser. Here again, if you listen to the sporting episode, with me today is Nick Springer. He did such a great job. I said, you got to come back, dude. You got to come back. Chris can just stay in China. Let's do this thing.
Dude, I feel like I'm having a little bit of deja vu of like, didn't we just do this yesterday? But yeah, excited to be back. And yeah, listen, if your co-hosts are just going to ditch you, somebody's got to step up. And, I'm not the podcast co-host. I'm not the podcast co-host. I'm the podcast co-host that stepped up.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be awfully fun when I ditch Chris in October for a little Florida trip I got going on. So he won't know what to do. It's going to bamboozle him.
Yeah, for the record, just for the listeners, Chris did say that he tried to set it up. He's dedicated. He's done the show from Japan in the past. He also did an episode from Turkey, I think. So I want to give our guy a little bit of credit. I think he probably did try a little bit, but between the time difference and the fact that he's in China, I think made it difficult.
Yeah, he probably would have had to, log off after 30 minutes anyways because his camera froze or something.
Yeah, for those that maybe don't know a little bit of behind the scenes,
behind the curtain,
Chris has this weird bug where his camera stops working after 30 minutes of recording, so we have to stop the show at 30 minutes. Like whenever we do our breaks, we literally have to stop the show for him to reset. It's
make sense.
Chaotic.
If someone is more techie than we are and knows about some sort of issue, but right around the 30-minute mark, it could be 28, could be 33.
Yeah,
he just freezes up. And I don't know, man, if he has all his drivers updated or what, but like there has to be an option, right? We'll Google it. We'll figure it out.
It truly befuddles the mind because he told me the type of computer he has, the camera and everything. And I was like, I don't know, some sort of factory setting, I guess. I have no idea, but yeah, maybe there's somebody out there that knows more than we do, which actually there definitely is people that are out there that more know than we do. That's not a hard bar to clear. Let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, we're not scientists. All right. We're doing our best. Just being silly soccer boys.
Yeah. No, this is podcasting, not brain surgery. So,
well, it's good. I'm glad I don't have to do this alone. I've done a podcast alone before, and it's really weird sitting in a room and talking to yourself.
Yeah,
it's just awkward.
Yeah. No, I did a 3-hour radio show by myself every day for a couple months.
Damn, did you take callers?
Yeah, I had guests come in, but it was only me for a majority of the show most days. So
wow,
yeah,
that's wild. I would be, I have the availability to, like, if we ever wanted to do something like that, not like an all day show, but like if we truly wanted to do something during the day, you see Tucker doing stuff, right, for the Chiefs right now.
Yeah, he's got himself. Yep, he's got KCSN live every Monday, Tuesday, or every Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday on the main KCSN channel. So if you're a Chiefs fan, or if you're just a fan of random conversations, Tucker, I think on Tuesday's show, we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon. I think on Tuesday's show he talked about power ranking chips, like what the best chips are. So you never know what you're going to get with Tucker.
Okay, so I'm manifesting right now. I'm manifesting a guest spot on that show. I need to be on it because if we're talking chips, baby, and then pizza's got to be next, I got to be on there and talk about it. I got to get my 2 cents in.
I have some bad news for you. I don't really like pizza.
What?
I don't like pizza.
I would say that's un-American, but it's an Italian cuisine. So
well, it's not, I don't like tomatoes. I don't like marinara sauce. I don't like. So if you give me a pizza with white sauce on it, then I'm good with it. But
white sauce pizza can be really good.
Yeah, it is really good. I do like that.
Okay.
I don't know.
Or like a barbecue sauce pizza.
That could be interesting. Yeah.
You can get down with that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
not tomato sauce, huh?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I've always been a very, very picky eater. Like when I was a kid, if you ask my parents, like I would just straight up not eat unless they gave me like I basically when I was a kid, I basically only ate like McDonald's chicken nuggets,
Mm.
uh spaghetti with shredded cheese on it, and that's about it, honestly.
Spaghetti with shredded cheese. Dude, I'm going to get
Yeah, so no
stoned out of my
sauce.
mind and
So like
make that.
you just boil some spaghetti and then you take it spaghetti and nothing else. This was like when I was like 6. A giant bowl of spaghetti with
At least you
nothing else.
boiled it.
No sauce, nothing. And then you take like the Kraft like shredded cheese, sprinkle it on top,
Dude,
mix it up.
that is a high poor man's meal right there. Like that's I'm sure there's adults out there that are like, yeah, I do that all the time.
Dude, when I was
I mean,
like 7, I would eat that and basically that's it.
bro, even now at the ripe age of 39, I will throw some cheese on a tortilla and microwave it. And I call it
Oh yeah.
tortilla surprise. And my
Mm.
wife goes, "What's the surprise?" And I was like, I guess I never really thought about it. I guess it's the cheese. I guess the cheese is the surprise.
My cousin used to do that, and they called it cheese splat. Is what they called it.
Cheese,
You're
cheese
gonna make a
splat.
cheese
That's pretty
splat,
good.
which is just literally what you just described. You take cheese, throw it on a tortilla, fold it in half, microwave it, and voila.
See, I'll throw some sriracha in there too, spice it up
Mm.
a little bit. But I like to, you talk tortilla surprise. That sounds fancy. That's something you might order
Yeah.
at a restaurant.
Oh yeah, definitely. If I saw tortilla surprise on a menu, I would think, oh, this is gonna be good. But if they
Absolutely.
brought out just a tortilla with cheese on it, I'd be pissed.
$20. Holy
Yeah.
shit! I'm making some of that tonight. It's happening. Uh, I ain't got rehearsal. I don't have to do nothing. Bro, you know what I did today, and everyone can just laugh at me. All right, I saw the new Downton Abbey film with a bunch of old women in this audience because it's an old women show that was on PBS years ago, and I had the best time. I laughed, I cried. We had a grand time. Me and my friend who I named Mildred next to me.
So I was kind of confused when you told me you were gonna go do that because I was under the impression that A, Downton Abbey was a TV show, and that B,
Yeah,
didn't it ended like years ago, right? Like
bro.
they don't
There's
it's
three
over, right?
movies. This was the third movie.
I was completely unaware of that. That's crazy.
Absolutely. And it just continues the story. And the movie's really like a couple big long episodes, right? So it's I love it. It's fancy. I it also seems like a lot of work to get dressed up for a dinner or a cocktail party. Everyone's in tuxedos. I'm like, God dang, you just do that every night?
Yeah.
Tuxedo takes a bit.
Yeah. Okay.
So, anyways, that was my afternoon. You probably been working all day, huh?
Been doing some work. Yeah, a little bit of work
Good.
here and there. So honestly, I was just preparing to sound semi-competent on today's show, talking about the current. I'm trying to fill big shoes. Chris, I feel like
Sure.
definitely brings that level. So I'm
Ah,
trying
man.
to.
He wears size 9, bro. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. No, I think, dude, there's not much big shoes to fill when you're talking about a nil-nil draw. All right, it's a
Yeah,
scoreless draw we're talking about today. What do you want to talk about? All this cavalcade of goals? No, we're gonna sit here and talk about defense and red card and what's next. You know what I mean? So, but there are some things. There are some things to talk about. Some things around the league, by the way.
yeah,
Did you see? Did you hear about Savannah DeMello
I
for
did.
Louisville?
Yeah, and actually, it was announced I think earlier on Tuesday that they're gonna finish the game, but it's going to be behind closed doors, which I thought was interesting. So it's closed to the public, I guess, to conclude the game. Which I guess maybe they just determined if they were, it wouldn't make a lot of sense to open it in such a short notice, I guess. But I found that to be interesting. But yeah, obviously, scary situation there, right? And hopefully everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you never want to see someone collapse on the field or anything like that, any kind of health issues. And it seems like something that's been happening a lot more frequent than what I would remember in past years. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where when it does happen, you recall the previous times that you remember it happening, which I think gives you sort of this effect of remembering, oh, it's happening frequently. But yeah, I mean, obviously you had the DeMar Hamlin situation, a couple years ago for the Bills, which was an extreme case, right? But there have been other instances of players in different sports, having issues for one reason or another. I think locally here, Kansas State was able to get Keontae Johnson on their roster because of kind of what happened with him, where he collapsed to Florida and he wasn't sure if he was going to be able to play again, and ultimately had the chance to come play at Kansas State. So yeah, I don't know. It's a scary thing, obviously in this day and age of technology and science, you would think that, you'd be able to figure that stuff out, but the body is a funny thing. You never know how people will react under different circumstances. And obviously if you're a professional athlete or, a high major college athlete too, you are putting your body under some of the most extreme duress for extended periods of time, right? In the case of soccer, for at least 90 minutes, you're putting yourself under extreme and intense, physical pressure and if, you factor in weather or whatever else it may be. So yeah, it's a scary situation. But I think it serves as a reminder of the toils that these athletes put themselves through, on a given basis.
I mean, your body can be tip top shape, man. You can be a machine, and something can still happen. You know what I mean? Yeah. You just don't know. Only get one body, folks. Take care of it. Who am I talking to? I'm over here with metal hips, bro.
Is this your weekly PSA of go to the doctor?
Dude, you got to go to the doctor. I'm going to the doctor again this week. Why not? I'm all maxed out on the deductible. Let's keep going. Doctor loves me.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. Hey, let's take a break real fast, come back and jump into everything. But first, calling all Chiefs fans, of course, you could be on the field at the 50-yard line inside GEHA Field for the official coin toss at a Chiefs home game this season. Visit Chiefs.com/GEHA now. Enter to win a chance to be on the field for a once-in-a-lifetime view of pregame coin toss. Maybe add a little good vibes to get a victory. We need it. Plus, you can score other exclusive prizes. Enter for a chance to win at Chiefs.com/GEHA. GEHA is the proud partner of the Kansas City Chiefs.
What's good, everyone? It is KCSN betting analyst Benny Heiss. Something hit me as I was driving to the Missouri side, ironically, for something not available on the Kansas side. I cross over. I just can't get over how long sports fans in the state of Missouri have been waiting. It feels like forever. Good news is you don't have to wait much longer because DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is finally coming to the Show Me State. And if you're thinking, yeah, but I got to wait on the sidelines until December 1st, it's not true. You can sign up right now. And when we go live, new Missouri customers get $300 in bonus bets just for placing a $5 bet. $5. That's not even as much as a pumpkin spice latte that's going to take over. So it's not some ragtag sports, but this is DraftKings. You got live in-game betting. So if your team starts hot, you could jump in mid-play. There's lightning fast payouts. None of that wait 3 days for your money nonsense. And you've got more ways to get in on the action. There's no better way to start. It's all from your phone. When we go live, you'll be betting with a sportsbook trusted by millions, safe, secure, fast withdrawals, everything you want. Well, except maybe a guarantee that your team will cover the spread, but that part's still on you. So here's the move. You download the DraftKings Sportsbook app, use code KCSN, and when we go live December 1st, that $5 bet turns into $300 in bonus bets. That is code KCSN in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER, 21 plus and physically present in Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after they are issued. Excludes customers who redeem pre-launch sign-up offer. Terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Success in real estate takes more than vision. It takes the right financial partner. When someone takes something rundown and turns it into something great, that's called a comeback story, like Brain Group. They take distressed properties here in KC, completely rework them, and then turn them into valuable real estate. But that kind of work needs the right bank behind it. Enter Emprise Bank. They're not about cookie-cutter loans. They saw Brain Group's vision, backed them, and now they're making big moves in Kansas City real estate. Talk about your partner in possible. Emprise doesn't do one-size-fits-all financing. They invest in potential and back growth. Visit emprisebank.com/KC to learn more. Emprise Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Ooh, buddy, there was a weekend of games, and they were all semi-exciting. Orlando finally stopped their 3-match skid by getting a point. Dude, Orlando has had one of the worst comeback from summer break ever. It's just fall from grace. It's craziness. And then go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, to that point, we're gonna talk about the current, but I think also when you think about some of these other teams where you've seen them kind of go through ebbs and flows, it's kind of remarkable that the current haven't had that, right? They've got their quote unquote ebbs have been having some draws here and there versus some of these other teams that have kind of struggled, have actually been taking a lot of losses versus what the current have been able to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hoping our skid, so to speak, was our 2 losses early in the year, and we got that out of the way, and now we can fire. And but here's what I wasn't expecting was to see Chewinga show up on the injury report for an issue and not be included in the lineup that day. She wasn't even on the bench, and I wasn't that worried when I saw this because I was thinking we got firepower. Okay, Cooper's out there, of course. Debina's on the bench. She's bound to come in eventually. So I figured we'd be okay. But props to Washington Spirit, man. They got a pretty gritty road point out of this entire game.
Well, last year, that was a big narrative of the offense being only Chewinga, right? Which was if she was not able to create something on her own, via deep pass or something or using her speed, then the current were kind of left with not a ton of options after that. And it felt like over the course of this season, at least, that they had managed to build up some other areas of strength with other players being able to be scoring threats to where you didn't need to rely on Chewinga so heavily to score. Now, obviously, Chewinga is Chewinga, right? She's arguably one of the best players in the world, really, truly, certainly in terms of scoring. But, this was a game where I think kind of what you mentioned, kind of what you alluded to there is maybe if this was a game that was played last year and Chewinga was out of the lineup, you'd think, oh crap, how are the current going to generate any offense? But going into it, at least this game felt like it was going to be different. Like, okay, sure, Chewinga's not playing, but yeah, you do feel like you have some extra firepower in other areas. And I don't know, maybe do you consider that disappointing considering the circumstances that they still struggled to score without her, I guess?
You would think that at first, the knee-jerk reaction is like, Jesus, we can't even score without Chewinga. And I think that would be doing a high disservice to the Washington Spirit, who really played good defense. They played good offense. They had opportunities too, man. I mean, Trinity Rodman, Croy Bethune, Aubrey Kingsbury. I mean, they were playing very good soccer. Even after their red card, which was in it was a second yellow card in the 70th, somewhere around there.
Yeah, I think it was the 66th minute. Yeah.
66. Yep. So that's a good 25 plus minutes there with stoppage time included that we should have taken advantage, but they packed it in. You could also see them kind of packing it in and playing it safe. You got to remember, just because a team gets a red card doesn't mean it's a obvious advantage for the other side. It's like they're on the road. They don't need a goal. They're not within striking distance of the first place team, us. They just would like to get a point on the road, and that's what they got. So overall, victory for both teams, really.
Yeah,
it was a hot day. I remember it was hot.
Yeah, I am curious actually if the game would have played out a little bit differently if the Spirit were still sort of in the hunt to take over the top seed over Kansas City, right?
Oh yeah.
It's pretty obvious at this point. I mean, I think Kansas City, we were just doing, listen, we're not statisticians or anything, but we were just doing some quick maths before we started recording, and the current have a chance actually to clinch the Shield this weekend, right? Which is a pretty big deal. And so with that in mind, the Spirit had no chance of catching Kansas City, right? But I do wonder if there's a situation where if the Spirit were, 5 points behind Kansas City or 6 points behind Kansas City instead of 14, would they have been more aggressive late in the game to try to say, this is our chance to, if we are shooting for the 1 seed, versus now, if you're the Spirit, given the current situation, you're actually just trying to basically fend off the teams behind you, right? And what's the best way to do that is to get any points you can. In this case, getting a draw. So their strategy certainly, I think, definitely shifted, once they got that second yellow to, You're on the road against the best team in the league. You know you're not going to catch them in the standings. So really all you're playing for is to ensure that you maintain your second place at the moment. And the best way to do that is to get a draw, right? To keep adding points in that circumstance. So
yeah,
it is interesting because you would have to assume, right, that if the standings were a lot closer, they probably would have been a little bit more aggressive than they otherwise were.
Oh, 100%. It is nice to get something out of this. Like I mentioned earlier, it was warm, dude. It's been unseasonably warm again here in September. And the first half was just kind of boring in my opinion, kind of lame. Not much was going on. I found myself yawn a couple times. That's not great. I need to be entertained, you know. But then they came out in the second half, and I tell you what, the announcer, I don't know what it was. They were hyping up the second half to start, and I was like, oh, this feels like the beginning of the game. And in a sense, it is. It's 0-0. It's anybody's game. Let's start this up again. And Washington came fast, dude. Like right away. Did you see Izzy Rodriguez's goal line clearance?
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. It's a very scary time.
Yeah. Yeah. And the Current have had what I think was this their 8th consecutive shutout? They set a record for, so they set a record for that. They've set a record for longest minutes without a goal. And they also set the record for fastest getting to 50 points in a season, right? And with the defense, obviously Lorraine has been phenomenal, but I think you got to give some credit to the defense around her too, right? Like, and that was a great play. I think that highlighted that. I mean, without that play, maybe they do let one in there.
Oh, 100%, dude. It was they were testing us right off the bat. Like they were moving the ball around. Washington's fast, and they're getting a good little stride. They're finding their like cohesion right now at a good time, and that's scary when playoffs are, you know, you got 6 more games in the regular season, I believe it is. So it's pretty wild to think that we're almost there, man. But we played it somewhat safe. Like we didn't take any big risks, which I'm happy about, because why do you need to do that? You're in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
You don't need to risk anything. Don't risk an injury, you know?
Yeah.
That'd be dumb.
Well,
I thought Nichelle Prince had a good game too. Nichelle Prince was playing well. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, and also you have to consider the possibility that these two teams are probably sitting there thinking we may see each other again in either like the playoffs or championship, right? And so do we want to show all of our cards, right? Do we want to really put ourselves all the way out there in this game versus let's maybe hold something back for if we do meet later in the playoffs? Because these are, I think, I maybe you disagree or agree, Dan, but these right now are the 2 best teams in the league, right? And so strong likelihood they could end up meeting again in a championship setting or in the playoffs. And so as the game wore on, and I think in the second half, you know, both teams were kind of testing each other out a little bit, but I think I got the sense maybe it was a little bit of, okay, neither team really needs this win that badly. Like you don't want to take a loss, but you don't really need to win that badly. And also, you know that this could be a team you might see again in the future. So maybe if you have any sort of tricks up the sleeve or whatever, why try to use them in a game like this when you know you might see them again?
Yeah. I mean, that's true, man. And they're probably happy Chewinga wasn't available, because that is, that saves their legs trying to run back to goal. But and they played us before with Chewinga, so they know what to expect. She's scored a couple goals on them before, I believe. So, but it's dude, when playoffs hit, it's anyone's ball game. I mean, we're sitting on. I think the wildest thing to me is that 7 straight shutouts was an NWSL record, and we just keep extending it now. Like it's now at 8, and it can go to 9 this weekend, and it's like it could eventually be a record that does not get broken at all. It's unreal, dude. And I'd be doing a disservice if I didn't mention that Bia and Dabinia and Michelle Cooper had great games as well, man. They they played hard. It just couldn't get one in the back of the net, man. And Dabinia came on at halftime, for God's sake. She had a whole second half to play.
what continues to blow my mind is you mentioned it with the shutouts, and we talked about it, but that the goals against on the season and the goal differential on the season for Kansas City, it's like mind boggling. Like if you really look at the numbers compared to like the rest of the league, I mean, you've got a plus 28 goal differential, which is just it's almost unfathomable how insane that is, right? And then you only given up 10 goals on the season. I mean, the next closest team is 17. You've given up 7 less goals than the next closest team in the league. And most teams you've given up 10 less goals than, pretty much, for the most part, or 10 plus less goals than. So it's pretty remarkable. And, you keep mentioning the playoffs, and obviously I think this season and last season, it feels like the narrative around the Current has been as a really explosive offensive team, right? Like that's kind of been their strength, but really now this season, it's been the defense that's been sort of the real stalwart thing that's been with them over the course, certainly over the past, 8 games, I guess now at this point, of which they have one they've had shutouts. And when you have a defense like that, you can go into a playoff game, and you don't want it to go to penalties, obviously, but to know like, hey, okay, we have this defense where we may only let in 1 or no goals this game. So to know that, and then offensively, you think you don't have to go out and be guns a-blazing the whole time, right? You can get one and then rely on that defense.
Oh, yeah. And we're going to get goals. Like, we're going to score them. So, like, the fact that our defense is rocking and rolling right now, like, that's going to win championships, dude. Like, I hate to get that excited right now because there's so much more soccer to be played, but it's insane to think that, we could be raising a cup over in the Bay Area in a couple months. I want to give a shout out to Haley Mace. Do you ever just when you're watching a game, any sport, do you ever just pick out a player for a moment and just like watch their movement and their play, or do you just kind of watch the ball the whole time?
It depends. I definitely do that sometimes. But
basketball, that's fun to do.
Yeah, but it is funny. I've done a lot of, for people that probably don't know, but I've done a lot of broadcasting, like play-by-play broadcasting in my career, and when you're a play-by-play broadcaster, you really do only pay attention to the ball most of the time. And so sometimes when I watch games, I find myself in that mode of like really hyper-fixating on like the ball, where's the ball at, what's happening with the ball. But yeah, absolutely. If you really want to, if you really take a step back and watch different players, and you see how in many cases, and this is why on so many different television and radio broadcasts, you have an analyst, because that's the analyst's job, is to watch everybody else that's not on the ball, because that can tell you so much more of a story. Because so much of games, especially in a game like soccer, and especially if you're a defender, so much of the game is played without the ball on your feet, right? So you have to be able to understand how to move in space, how to put yourself in the right position without the ball, right? Like that's such a critical aspect of it, especially in this circumstance. So yeah, it's pretty cool to watch, and I think it really gives you an extra appreciation, I think, for how cerebral and how mental the game is with different players, right?
Well, I do think about that. I knew a Trinity Rodman coming to town. I was gonna watch her, and her movement off the ball and stuff, and how many times she gets frustrated and puts her jersey in her mouth. That was kind of her whole thing. She's just like, here's my tummy and my jersey's in my mouth. But no, Haley Mace is a big one for me, dude. The way she muscles people off the ball, just puts her whole body into them. And I'm like, it's not a foul, because she's not like extending her arm to push them. She's just bodying them up. Ever since she came back into this lineup months ago, it's been a game changer for our back four, man. And I love to see it.
Yeah, it's very impressive. And again, well, Lorraine obviously is in goal, which is a major factor of maintaining that low goals given up or the shutout streak at this point. But it's really a team effort, and I think any goalkeeper would tell you that, right? Like it's so much more than just one individual, making saves or whatever. It's more a team effort on the back line and communication and all that stuff. So that's equally critical.
Yes. I do think this was crazy. So Haley Hopkins subs in at the 83rd minute, and in the 84th minute, she about scores a goddamn goal, man. She like like chests it like that. Not much power into it, and the goalkeeper's right there to really stop it on the line. But it was crazy. The whole crowd's calling for VAR, and it's like, no need for that, But I get I love the enthusiasm. I love the excitement for it. But how awesome would that have been? What a super sub moment for Haley Hopkins. She's done it before.
Yeah. Well, and there are certain players that they just manage to find the ball, or the ball manages to find them, in different situations. And I feel like Haley Hopkins is that type of player, right? Where she comes into the game and it just one way or another, she just always ends up managing to be on or near the ball in those potential scoring moments. It's really impressive.
Yeah, man. And I know a lot of us were at the game, so we couldn't see this, but on the broadcast, every time there was like a quick chance of a goal for us, they would show like the players who weren't playing up in the box, which was like Chawinga and Vanessa DiBernardo were up there, and Katie Scott, I think, was up there. And just hands on head, just frustrated. The camera just loved them at least 3 times, I think.
Yeah.
No, you love to see the support even from the people who aren't playing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you mentioned it. This team is used to scoring goals, right? So obviously you love to get the shutout of Washington, but you're not used to being shut out, especially at home either.
Right.
What's up, guys? I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network, and I'm here to talk to Kansas City businesses. If you rely on technology, you need an IT support team that's not just another vendor, but a true IT partner. That's how I want to introduce you to my friend and neighbor, KJ Miller. He is a VCIO at ThrottleNet, the Midwest's highest rated and most reviewed IT support company. They've been in business for more than 25 years, helping companies stay secure, productive, and ahead of the curve. They aren't just IT support, but they provide data security, IT strategy, and cloud software services. They do it all, and their reviews show they do it better than anyone else. So if you want to hear about how ThrottleNet can help your local business, join the conversation with myself, KJ Miller from ThrottleNet, and our resident genius from KC Sports Network when it comes to IT, at least as he's affectionately known by us, Mr. Craig Stout. Click the link in the description to hear how ThrottleNet can help you.
Dude, it's been a year, right? We were the first team to clinch playoff spot, right? We now know that we are guaranteed a top 2 playoff spot, which is home field advantage up until, the final. And then, if you got to keep an eye on that Thursday game when Washington Spirit play, and they got to play Angels. They got to go to Angel City, and if they do so much as get a point, if they drop any kind of points, and we win on Saturday, there's a celebration at CPKC Stadium. That shield is probably coming in tow to Kansas City on one of those locomotives. Yeah, it's coming by train, the old type. But this is we this year, man, we equaled Orlando Pride's record-setting performance, securing a playoff berth with 8 regular season games remaining. Pretty good company there, right? It's just I don't know where I was going with this. It's an exciting time, man. We could lift our first ever NWSL Shield this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, this year's really been all about making history, right? I mean, it just seems like every record that could be broken up to this point has been broken, right? The first, quickest to 50 points, the shutout record, minutes for the current, all that stuff. It's been very remarkable. And I guess from your perspective, Dan, I mean, does that add to the pressure of, okay, now you must go win the championship? Like if you don't win it, is it all a failure? Like, are you looking at it through that lens at this point?
No, that sucks to think that, right? I mean, that'd be like booing your team after a loss. Like, come on, Chiefs fans, I'm talking to you. But no, I think you don't want to expect it. Like, there's still work to be done. You still gotta, deposit the work, right? And I feel that there is something to be said though about this streak we've been on and securing a playoff spot so early that, no other team has secured a playoff spot. It's just us, dude. All those spots are up for grabs right now, depending on what happens. Washington Spirit could lose every game. I don't think they will, but they could lose every game and drop the hell out of there.
Well, it is pretty crazy. I mean, so Racing Louisville, I believe, they're in the last playoff spot with 26 points.
And look at Angel City in 11th with 23.
And Gotham, who's in third, has 30, right? So
yeah,
the Spirit definitely have given themselves a little bit of a gap. They're up to 36 right now, but you're talking about 3 through basically 9 and 10 separated by 5 points. Like,
yes,
that's,
I'm watching those ones on the bubble, dude. I'm watching North Carolina, Houston, and Angel City just within striking distance of that last spot. Yeah, it's going to be a battle. Yeah. It really makes watching like other games kind of fun. I know we probably only watch our team, but if you feel like some casual soccer, it probably gets pretty exciting.
Well, and you can be stress-free if, for the Current, because you already do have that locked up. And I do wonder going forward, there's 6 matches left. I mean, do you think the Current will basically try to empty their bench in some of these games and get some of their other players, on the field and rest some of their stars? I mean, Chewinga obviously didn't play in this game with picked up something. So, I mean, do you say, hey, let's put some of these players on the shelf for the last 3 or 4 games of the season, to have them be totally fresh for the playoffs?
Vlatko's kind of already doing something similar to that. I mean, you kind of notice he only brought Debinha on for a half. She probably could have played more. He's really trying to do this rotation to keep people healthy for the playoffs. So I don't know, man. I think you could see some more of Mary Long probably. Haley Hopkins, of course, came in at the end, but I don't think he'll go full on youngins, full on bench players. I don't see that happening. You got to keep people fit and in the groove, right?
Oh yeah, there's definitely a balance there, right? Like, yes, okay, the idea of you can rest your players and they'll be more fresh in the playoffs but if you rest them and they're not in, game shape for 2-3 weeks, are they going to be rusty when you bring them in it's that age old question sort of, is it better to just keep it rolling, keep your body in that mode of game, or is there benefit to, resting and then coming back and you're able to still play at that same level? So yeah, it's something certainly to monitor. And, I think probably, like you said, it probably ultimately comes down to somewhere in the middle ground. Like maybe in the last handful of games, you have some players only play for 1 half or 30 minutes or, whatever, to where they can still play and stay in that game mode, but maybe not play the whole game.
Yeah. And, you can look at it on the other side, man. We've seen NFL teams have a bye in the playoffs and then come back and lose. We've seen same thing with MLS teams, dude. They have a bye and come back and the teams who end up winning MLS Cup are the teams who squeezed into the playoffs because they got hot. So I don't know. I think there's something to be said for keeping up the continuity, keeping the form. It's all about form when it comes to soccer.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
I want to read Chip's little write-up here. I'm sure he's got some numbers here that we didn't get to, but he said 2 draws in a 5-game stretch. Are we slipping? No, not really, but let's discuss. The Current have 38 goals scored on the season spread across 20 games. We're a high-scoring team any way you slice it, but to see this team only get 2 shot attempts in the first half against the Spirit was a little surprising. Told you it was boring. Sure, we didn't have Chewinga running the ball, but the team had a relatively slow start, but it was also done against a defensive-minded Spirit squad. Spirit squad! I can't believe he said that. For the match, the Spirit only had 8 shots, below their average of 12.3, and had their lowest XG against us of any game this season at 0.4. Wow. Maybe this was a defensive-focused game, but I can say that the attack felt disjointed. It was nice to see Alex Pfeiffer get some playing time, though. It was nice to see her get off the bench and come in. She's quick. She's a quick little thing, I'll tell you that. But the Current are rolling towards that shield. Right now, the Current are at 50 points on the season and have a 14-point lead on the second-place team, the Washington Spirit. Even in a world where we lose every game after this and the Spirit win every game after this, the Current would lose the shield. But the magic number is 2. We get 2 wins and nobody can catch up to us. But that just covers the fate we control. This would also mean that Washington would have to win out the rest of their season. Not to say they couldn't do it. Washington is a good team. But we are sitting pretty in first place, watching the absolute meat grinder that is 3rd through 8th place, all being within 4 points of each other. Next up, we have Seattle at home. Seattle are currently 7th in the league, but only 0.6 points per game in their last 5, compared to the Currents' 2.2. Seattle is one of the few teams in the league which has more points from away games than home games, with a 4-3-3 away record, compared to the Currents' 7-2-0 home record this year. Chwinga being out against Washington due to her knee didn't do us any favors, but here's looking forward and seeing if she might be back for it. Something to also think about, dude, this weekend is that Seattle has to play a half of a game on Tuesday night. So, not saying they'll have tired legs. I mean, anyone can go out and run around for 45 minutes. It's better than 90. But still, it's more time on their legs than we have to spend on a Tuesday night. So we should be the fresher team.
Yeah, we are recording this on Tuesday afternoon, so we're before the result of that game is final, I guess. But yeah, absolutely. They have to go out and play under unusual circumstances, right? In a closed to the public, end of game situation before they come play against Kansas City. And one other thing I wanted to ask you about that is, does it matter to you that Kansas City could finish the season unbeaten at home? Is that something that's important to you? Like, would you care that they do that? Because obviously they're unbeaten at home right now. Would that be something you would want them to achieve at the end of the year?
The fact that it's even a possibility and there's only 6 little baby games left, it now matters a lot to me. Like,
well, because your last 4 games, you have 6 games, 4 of them are at home. You have 4 of your last 6 are at home.
True. And everyone's going to be, licking their chops, wanting to beat us at home. And the teams that could do that, man, is San Diego and Gotham. Have more than enough firepower to beat us at home. I feel a little safer against Seattle and Chicago, but Gotham and San Diego, that's not going to be easy. So, yes, it matters to me a lot. It's like it's a silly thing, it's not important, especially in the long grand scheme of things, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, would be really cool, I think, for sure.
100%. And then you're looking into, my goodness, man, you look at this schedule and it has whittled down. You got Seattle coming to town this weekend. It's on Ion if you can't make the game. I believe it's Heart Health Awareness Night. So that's nice, especially when people are collapsing on soccer fields around town. Not around town. I don't know why I said that. But I think that I think we can get this done, man. But this is a team. This is a Seattle team that we just said is kind of on the cusp of not making the playoffs. So every point matters for them right now, man. They're looking to at least get a draw.
Well, and remember, Seattle, I believe, didn't they hand Kansas City one of their losses back in May? Wasn't Seattle one of the teams that beat them?
Beat us 1-0 at their place, yeah.
Yeah.
And that was, we had a little 2-game losing streak there, right on the heels of that North Carolina game. So I think we're going to want a little revenge. Like, this is that revenge game for sure. The fact that we didn't even score in that game is wild. That doesn't happen to us. We don't lose and not score.
Well, and the other thing I would just highlight again is, Chip mentioned it there. We mentioned it as well, with the fact that all these teams are actively fighting for the playoffs. And I mean, you look at the rest of the schedule for the current, it's all against those teams, right? So you're going to have a lot of teams that are going to be coming to town, or that you're going to be playing, that are going to be desperate for late season points because of the fact that the table is so condensed, for basically 5 or 6 playoff spots, and Seattle's a perfect example of that. I mean, Seattle, absolutely, they're sitting, 1 point, they're sitting in 7th, as you said, but they're only 1 point ahead of Louisville and 2 points ahead of the Courage. So they could, with a loss, they could very well find themselves outside of the playoffs, right? So that a team like that is going to be desperate for any points they can get.
Oh, 100%, dude. And out of all the teams we play, like, every team except for maybe Chicago is going to be bringing it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Which is why I do expect that 45-minute game on Tuesday to be pretty hyped too, man. That's against isn't that Angel City and Louisville and Seattle? My bad. Angel City plays Washington,
which
on Thursday.
Louisville and Seattle are sitting in 7th and 8th. So a very, very, very consequential game for those two teams.
Man, are we gonna mess around and raise this shield this weekend? Like, I've never been a part of something like that. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I gotta tell you though, there is ample reason. I feel so silly saying this. I'm like, am I even a real fan? But there's reason to leave a KC Current game early if you have parking. Because, bro, I sat in that parking lot at a standstill for like, I don't know, 45 minutes maybe. I mean, I don't know I don't know how they fix it. It needs like other exits or people directing traffic, but it was, and people are dicks. Dude, people don't want to let you, they don't want to do a zipper merge. They're just like, no, I have a big truck, so this is my spot. I'm like,
so
holy shit.
my dad always told me this rule of thumb in a parking lot of that situation, which is if everybody lets in one person, so you let in one person, right? And then, you're done. And then every car that has the opportunity to lets in one person, things flow. That's what my dad always, that's the rule that he told me.
It makes
But
sense.
I have to assume that the construction situation is contributing to the parking problems, right? So isn't that going to get better, you would think?
I don't know if the construction situation has anything to do with their current parking lot, their gravel parking lot. You know what I mean? It's crazy because the fan experience is wonderful inside the stadium, but everything on the outside, like getting there, is kind of lame, kind of dumb. And it's like, okay, I'm in the stadium now. Now I'm having a great freaking time. But then it's like time to leave, and now I'm mad at everything. I hate this.
The games that I have gone to, I've usually done the shuttle. So
Yeah.
I'll park somewhere and take a shuttle, and that's fine. But there was a game that I went to. It was one of the games in June where it was like 100 degrees, and you're standing outside, in the sun, waiting for the shuttle to take you, and it was pretty tough, right? Because you're just you're just baking in the sun. Now, hopefully, it'll be a little bit better for these games down the stretch here with the weather being a little bit cooler. But yeah, I remember you had to really, really want it to make it to the shuttle.
It's rough. It's such a cool stadium location, but like the infrastructure just like wasn't ready for it yet, I guess. And I don't know. I don't see it getting better overnight. It's wild. You think it's cool because you have a parking pass, but it's not cool. It's the worst time, dude. And you gotta stay calm because if you get all mad, that ain't gonna do nothing. What are you gonna do, dude? Scream into the void? That can be fun, but it does nothing.
I have never, honestly, I have never really understood having road rage or like getting mad in your car, because
you don't ever talk to yourself and you're just like, look at this idiot. You don't ever do that?
I mean, sometimes, yeah, but I'm not like getting really mad, because it's like, so my thought process is like, if I see somebody who is a stupid driver, right? They were a stupid driver yesterday. They're a stupid driver today, and they're going to be a stupid driver tomorrow, no matter what I do, no matter if I honk my horn, if I yell at them, no matter, like, there's nothing I can do that's going to make them any less stupid of a driver.
You could honk at them, especially if their head's in their lap, like looking at their phone or something.
Yeah.
That's what's crazy to me. I don't know how people do that.
If you're just a distracted driver. Yeah. Don't text and drive, by the way.
Don't text and drive, dude.
Probably just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, than drinking and driving. So,
bro, I've like had friends. You know what'll ruin a friendship is when you find out someone texts and drives, and it's like, oh no, why do you do this? I put Chris on blast. I think Chris has said he's done this before, and I was like, Chris, don't. I said I can wait. I said text me later, and or when you're in the movies and your friend pulls out their phone, and I'm like, oh, you did not just open your phone in the movie theater. This is our friendship's on the rocks. It's crazy. Those are my pet peeves, man. Jimmy's like that too. He doesn't like phones in movies at all.
Yeah.
Can you imagine Jimmy getting mad?
Yeah, in the movies, I'm definitely with you on that. Like, you can't, listen, it's not one situations where like it's unexpected. Like, it's like you're going to the movie. Like, you are going, the etiquette of the movie. Like, if you can't,
they even do little intro videos about it.
Yeah, it's like, if you can't be away from your phone for 2 hours or however long the movie is, then maybe don't go to the movies. I don't know. Just a thought.
Yeah. I've had a tendency. I want to just slap someone's phone out of their hands. Just slap it out. Because they'll just be scrolling Instagram or something. I was like, are you kidding me? You're in a movie scrolling Instagram? You're not at home. People are around you. We see it. All right, I'm getting off the soapbox. We got to get the hell out of here. Anything else you want to talk about this game or Seattle coming up? I think we pretty much covered it.
Yeah, no, I thought we did a great job covering it for the most part. So, Yeah, chance to clinch the Shield again. Just want to reiterate that. And
you got to win this weekend for one. You got to win this weekend to even clinch the Shield. Otherwise, the Shield made the trip for no reason. But it would be cool to clinch the Shield at home, man, and to raise that thing in front of the fans.
Definitely.
But the Spirit also have to drop points. So if Washington wins on Thursday, then we ain't clinching that Shield on Saturday. It is what it is. But we got to, like Chip said, we got to win 2 games, right? And then we do. It doesn't matter what the Spirit do. So, anywho, let's get out of here. Nick, thanks for being here, man. Nice to have you fill in.
Yeah, this is fun.
I think I don't know. I don't think Chris is coming back next weekend. Maybe I should reach out and try to get us a guest.
Yeah, I was about to say, I'm not confident Chris is gonna be back next week either. So it could be me again, could be somebody else. I don't know.
Maybe we need
delegated back to my producer role, but
I'm gonna do it. I think I'm gonna reach out and try to get us a guest. I think that's a great idea. Let's see if we can make that work.
There you go.
In the meantime, please rate us on Apple Pods, 5 stars, please. Let us know how much you love us. Email us nootherpod@gmail.com, at nootherpod, at Dan Kooser, at Nick Springer 29.
Nice. Yep.
Hey, gunned it. And then we'll just be back next week, hopefully with a victory pod, maybe a Shield clinching victory pod. So for Nick, I'm Daniel. See you next week. Love you.